Hello friends, Reach Vegetables, Man's 2.0 here, and as you can see I have a new setup. I am now on my gaming PC. We finally got the gaming PC, however my laptop broke, so yeah. I'm using my phone as webcam, which is like not the best considering my glasses like reflect the light a lot. But also the light in my face is nice. But yeah, so we're going to be reading old stories. Where we also last time, we were about to read the Elements of Dark and Light Chronicles, which is Layla. Finally. This webcam keeps struggling. You know, it's fine. We'll just see what happens. I mean, that's to be expected considering it's connected by Wi-Fi. It might struggle a little bit. Yeah, I'm using my phone as a webcam. Okay, let's just see how this goes. The Elements of Dark and Light Chronicles. Prototype title, A Mental Blaze. Chapter 1, In the Underworld. Once upon a... Hey, what do you think this is? Some kind of soppy fairy tale for little kids? No, it isn't. This is the story of me, the mentally insane girl with powers and her friend/enemy. Great to know that later. Yeah, original Layla is a little bit unhinged. I mean, current Layla literally kills people, and you think, how can you get more unhinged than that? But original Layla, very unhinged. Also, the first time I wrote about Layla, she was 10, and her age has gone up like by 2 years every single time. The last time I touched Villain's Tales, I made her 14. And the current story, she's 18, which I think just works a lot better. But yeah. Okay, fine, I will do it again. Imagine you were born with extraordinary powers and could get exiled and then kidnapped by the Lord of Death. Yep, that pretty much sums up Layla Hobblestitch. Or imagine you were kidnapped by the Lord of Fear and had extraordinary power. Meet Shadow. And the Shadow isn't even in this scene. Wow. Mortimer, said Layla. Yes, said Mortimer. I want to fight the light elements, please, pleaded Layla. Water puts out fire, dead stops the living, fire destroys nature, bravery fights fear, darkness and lightness are equal. And you are only 14, said Mortimer with a sigh. What does that mean? And dead and the living, that's interesting because in the current story there isn't... Well, I guess these powers aren't really considered runic yet, like I haven't officially been like, oh... Like, I decided that later on in the story, that, like, I think. But life and death are not runic powers in my current story. But Mortimer, sighed Layla. No buts, go care for your pets, they're hungry, and there is someone in the dungeon, said Mortimer with an evil grin. Oh yeah, this is original Mortimer. You know, the plot line in, like, this is kind of crazy sometimes. But yeah. I kind of forgot I wrote Mortimer again. Said Mortimer with an evil grin, rubbing his black moustache. Mumbo jumbo. Plus, I need you and your pets to come with me after they have eaten. Is that okay with you, my dear apprentice? Sure, smiled Laylee. Who's Laylee? I love Laylee. I think I mean Layla. As she put down her arm and a 6-foot-long rattlemoke named Apo slithered up it. A rattlemoke is a type of rattlesnake. Oh yeah, everyone always also had pets whose bite will burn right through your skin. His magma-coloured scales glistening from the reflection of the lake of lava. Layla then opened a bright red pouch attached to her magma-coloured dress, and out popped a small blaze semi named Tau. Blaze semi look like small monkeys with a small fluffy demon-shaped wings, and its teeth are on fire, and so are its little claws. It's a good thing Layla has fireproof clothes. It has big, imploring red eyes, but don't be fooled. Its scratches burn and spread across your body until you die. Layla walked down to the dungeon of the Lord of Death, whose more mundane name is Mortimer. That's a sentence. She opened the first cell and walked in to see a gaunt, pale-faced, shaking man. He shouted, "You freak, you are a psychopath. Mortimer kidnapped you at the age of 4. Why do you obey?" He fell silent. The snake had bitten him in the neck. Layla watched. Death amused her. Okay, Layla. Yeah, the difference between current Layla and original Layla is original Layla enjoys death and murder. Current Layla is neutral on it, which arguably isn't that much better. Like, say, oh yes, I'm neutral about killing people. I just do it sometimes, but you know what? It's fine. She gave her pets a couple of minutes to eat before using her powers to set the remains on fire. She watched as the fire slowly ate away at the remaining skin. She then called to her pets. Together they found Mortimer. "Guess what? We are going to attack another city," said Mortimer. "Wait, really?" she shouted. "You're the best. I'm so excited." Jesus Christ, Layla. Chapter 2. Attack on Tauki City. They got to the city and looked around for the town centre of the town. For the town centre of the town. I think the town centre might be in the centre of the town. They found it and went there. There was a grey platform there. This is terribly written. So they walked up the stairs to the platform. Then Mortimer got a microphone out of his pocket, casually, and he shouted down, "I am Mortimer, the Lord of Death." Oops, dropped my microphone. Just like that. Dropped his microphone. Everyone laughed, even Shadow had to stifle her sarcastic giggle. When was Shadow introduced? It says Shadow exists. We have not seen Shadow, and now I'm expected to know Shadow is just here. Okay. The Lord of Death? What kind of rubbish name is that? Laughed a man eating a taco. Okay. Mortimer just sighed and raised his arm, uprose and skeletons from the ground and grabbed the man. Uprose skeletons from the ground and grabbed the man. Yeah, his power was more similar to original Shimigara's power. You'll see why. You'll see why later. Meanwhile, Layla had set her magma hair alight, so her hair just looked like a big mass of fire that never stops. She stood next to Mortimer. "I am his apprentice, the girl of fire, and all shall be quiet." I think I made Layla do that again in the current book. She set her hair on fire. I think she was vaporizing someone. Well, it's more like melting, but you know, it's fine. "Do I get to say something?" asked Shadow. She had purple hair and dark black eyes, a mask covering her mouth. She often wore purple. "I don't think they want to hear your ugly voice," said Layla jokingly. Layla and Shadow's dynamic has stayed very similar but also different. Like, they still have like they jokingly argue. Like, Shadow would be like, "Layla, you're an idiot," or whatever, but they're way more affectionate, I guess. But they still have like the tension of joke arguing. "I don't think they want to hear your ugly voice," said Layla jokingly. "Have you heard your voice? I mean, you must have, as you have no friends," retorted Shadow. "Fine, here is the microphone, you uncultured swine." Okay. "Thank you, girl of ugliness. I am Shadow. This is Hunter and this is Witch." Hunter was a nightmare wolf, while Witch was a dark cat. These both symbolised nightmares. I think symbolisation is meant to be not exactly spelled out. It's not meant to be like, this symbolises nightmares. "Girl of nightmares, don't make me laugh," a man giggled. Shadow stared at him, her eyes seeming to enter his brain. And all of a sudden there was a loud thud as they saw a giant bunny. The man ran and ran. "What a scaredy cat, afraid of a bunny? I can summon creatures from your nightmares. Now all of you bow down and surrender to the Lord of Darkness." Everyone at once bowed down. "Now that's the way it should be. Anyone not want to listen? I guess you want to burn and suffer forever. Any volunteers? I like seeing death. It is like a friend to me, said Layla, sounding like a psychopath. Okay, Layla. Original Layla is more like current Ellekonea. And the funny thing is Ellekonea has always been more unhinged than Layla. That's been like a matter of fact. Original Ellekonea was more unhinged than original Layla. So like, it's insane. I still have characters that act like this, just Layla is not one of them. No one will ever have to listen to you. I have heard a lot about you, Layla, and other girl, said a voice. Other girl, said Shadow, feeling quite insulted. I thought the joke was that Shadow was more famous than Layla. That's definitely a joke later on. Can I not even keep the main joke consistent? That like Shadow's more popular than Layla because Shadow has a higher kill count? Anyway, well, it's me, the girl of water, here to stop you, Ellekonea. Ellekonea, the only hero that lives up to her hype, said Ellekonea, which made all the people in the town cheer and scream. Quiet, peasants, snapped Shadow, and they at once did. The girl of water, you have no idea how long I have waited. Water and fire are natural enemies. Want to play a little game that might result in your death? Okay, that was cool, said Layla without any sense of emotion. You are crazy, and I must stop you. Okay, Ellekonea, said Ellekonea. There was a girl next to her. Who is that? Asked Layla. Lisa, the girl of light. Original Lali, I think she was in the story, like the last chapter. She's the Oda, and she's the Oda's older sister. Lisa, the girl of light, my apprentice, said Ellekonea, and without hesitation she shot a jet of water at Layla. Layla dodged to the side and shot fire back, which hit Ellekonea, causing steam to come off of her. Layla then sent her little blaze Semi after her, and she also sent the snake to go bite her. Ellekonea realized and shot water at the animals, but it was a distraction. Layla had snuck up behind her. She set her hand ablaze and grabbed Ellekonea around the throat. Ellekonea screamed in absolute pain, which made Layla smile. You're meant to be strong against me. Any more words before you die? Said Layla crazily. Yeah, Layla's a little bit insane. Shadow's stronger though. No villain has ever been able to hurt me before, said Ellekonea weakly. While all this was happening, Mortimer was just observing and Shadow was fighting Lisa. I will get your worst nightmare to come out. Do you want that? Threatened Shadow. Lisa quickly shot light at Shadow, blinding her for a bit. She then saw what state Ellekonea was in and shot light at Layla. She then flew to Ellekonea and flew away with her. They left, said Shadow, slightly confused as she patted Hunter and Witch. It's best we do too, but you kids did well, and now Ellekonea is going to be more cautious. But now a full force would show up. Best we retreat to the underworld, commanded Mortimer. They had all soon returned to the underworld. Chapter 3, an underworld market girl. I know who this chapter's about. Layla liked the underworld. It was fiery and full of evil. Just the way she liked it. She had a fun day planned with Shadow and Mortimer. They were going to go to the underworld market, but first, underworld studies. Layla went to school? Okay. Layla sat next to Shadow and listened to Mortimer speak. There are 3 worlds. One can go once dead. That's different than my current story. Everyone just kind of gets thrown in the same place, I guess. But Satan also exists. The underworld owned by Satan, heaven ruled by angels and gods, and Geopia ruled by Japo. Oh yes, Japo! If you don't remember, the tiger, the like lily birthmark that Tiger Lily, and Lilypad have was considered to be a sign of Japo, meaning that it's like evil. The story's connecting, guys. It's connecting. It's all connected. All connected. Now, Layla, Satan says the underworld should be ruled by whoever is the person who has the element of fire as their power. Okay, but this place is not called runic fire, but I don't think Layla's the only person that has... Well, she might be the only person in this story that has fire powers. No, it's fine. That is you. Once you've completed your studies, you are like a queen to these people. Satan himself takes care of the depths of hell that only the dead can enter. The living may enter the underworld, but only if they have true evil in their souls. Class dismissed. They left while talking to Shadow. That is like a little bit different, because the current underworld is more not true evil in their hearts, but like if they oppose the laws of the mortal realm. So like technically like anti-heroes can enter it, like kind of like vigilantes and stuff can enter it as well, and people that like aren't really evil but just kind of are against the law, I guess. Later, may I talk to you alone? May I talk to you for a moment alone? Requested Mortimer. It's fine, I didn't want to talk to that loser anyway. I will see you at the entrance of the marketplace. Come on, witch and hunter. We are not wanted, said Shadow as she walked away pretending to be offended. I hate the fact I don't have a space between like the words. You'll be queen of the underworld soon. You do know that, right? It's interesting that she isn't already, said Mortimer, staring into her eyes. Yes, I can't wait to have power and be in charge of everyone here. I cause destruction to the overworld, replied Layla excitedly. Just be careful. Everyone here has some kind of evil in their soul. Some people's souls are darker than others. Shadow's soul, for example, has quite a bit of evil in it. But you can see she will never betray you. Shadow has always been the embodiment of loyalty. That's always been my... like, the inspiration behind Shadow is just the concept of loyalty. And one of my IRL old friends, but yeah. Others, however, will... Anything that is like rebellion, execute them. Show no mercy. You are not looking to be their friend. You want to be their queen, the one in charge of them. Foreshadowing. I understand, but how evil is my soul? Asked Layla. It's the darkest soul I have ever seen, and it will get worse with time. That is all I can say, replied Mortimer. They then went to the underworld market where they saw Shadow waiting by the entrance. Layla had her Blaze, Semi, and Rattlemoke with her. You know, at this point I could just say their names. After seeing a couple of stalls stop, they entered, and after seeing a couple of stalls stopped at one for hellhounds. The notorious monsters of the underworld, dog-like in appearance, but fire was burning along their ruby red teeth and menacing sharp claws. You should get one. Most people in the underworld do. They're truly powerful, suggested Mortimer. They approached, and a girl who looked to be about 10 spoke to her. Going to be real, I thought original Ellekonea was 8. Congratulations on not being 8 years old, original Ellekonea. Current Ellekonea is 14. But like, actually she might have been 8 and I might have changed it. If Rachel's age also says 10, then I definitely changed it. You were Layla, right? Oh wait, I just spoiled that that's Ellekonea. You know what, it's fine. That only matters to people that read my story. That's fine. You are Layla, right? I am the girl of Hellhounds, which means we have a magical connection. This is my soul pet, Hellhound Inferior. You want a pet that causes people pain and forever and ever? Said the girl, sounding as much as a psychopath as Layla. I like your attitude. Who are you? Asked Layla. I'm Ellekonea, replied Ellekonea. She had bright orange hair. She had She had lemon-like yellow eyes. She wore a bright orange t-shirt with bright orange shorts. She wore her hair in a plait. Please, I want a hellhound. Hellhound. Okay. How much will that be? I'll say her curiously. 100 devil coins for a pup, 200 for an adult. Imagine how much pain you could cause with them, responded Ellekonea evilly. I would like a pup, responded Layla. Male or female? Asked Ellekonea. Female, responded Layla. Here, she said, picking up a little hellhound puppy with bright emerald green eyes. Layla always had a soft spot for animals. I'm going to name you Charlie. That's a very random name. Good name, said Shadow, also looking at the hellhounds. Come walk with me. I should like to know more about you, Layla said to Ellekonea. Sure, said Ellekonea if she made her hellhounds follow them. So I assume your name was not your birth name. What is your name? Because in the current story, Ellekonea is actually named by someone in the underworld. I think she was named by the old council. And she has the reason her name is Ellekonea is because she has a name of underworld origin. Because in the current story, she wasn't born there, but she entered there when she was a newborn baby and her mother died. So... I'll say they're wondering at me. Ellekonea looks a little bit hesitant to answer at first. El Hobblestitch, responded Ellekonea. Wait, Muppet Girl! Okay, Shadow. Wasn't that your last name? Shadow whispered to Layla. Yeah, Layla whispered back. And I came to find you, but got nervous. Ma and Pa always talked about you, said Ellekonea while looking down at the ground. So you and my sister? Asked Layla quietly. Yeah, she responded. Ma and Pa, what happened to them? I don't remember much about them, but I remember they were nice. You wouldn't willingly leave them, responded Layla, slightly confused. The cops decided they were criminals because of your most recent attack on the town, and they made you. The authorities had no one to blame. Despite all the backlash, they arrested them and found them guilty of murder. It was a big injustice and sentenced them to death. That's a bit extreme, and I thought the justice system of my current story was bad. Jesus Christ. But that's basically the mentality that one of my current characters has. I already knew about my powers with hellhounds. I went to she burst out crying, although initially not seeming like she had emotions. It was clear she did have some. That's good to know. Layla put her arm around her in a comforting way. Ellekonea continued. I went to save them, but it was too late. They were dead. I decided I had two options: return to my foster parents or go kill the ones who killed my parents, then go to the underworld with evil in my soul and find my sister. I chose option 2. I found the man working in the execution chamber and used my hellhounds to help me. I strapped him down to the lethal injection bed, and I got a scalp I had stolen from a hospital. My weapon of choice, and I cut near his lip, making him look sad. I then poked his eyes out and drew crosses over them. Then with his ruby red blood, I made him drink it, then injected him. He died. The cops called the crime horrific. Yeah, because it was! I told you guys original Ellekonea was unhinged, but I do not remember that. Jesus Christ, Ellekonea. Jesus Christ. Just Jesus Christ. And I mean, I'm not saying current Ellekonea wouldn't do that, just... Jesus Christ. That's kind of similar to something Flair does. Although Flair just didn't do it that extreme, but she did make someone drink their own blood. Said Ellekonea, her face lighting up as she described the murder. Oh, that murder sounds beautiful and perfect, said Layla, sounding like a psychopath yet again. Yeah, I remember I described Layla as sounding like a psychopath a lot during this. I'm just like, sounding like a psychopath yet again. Oh, it was, said Ellekonea, sounding just like her sister. You two really are sisters, you psychopaths, said Shadow, giving out a little laugh. You've killed people too, shut up. Yeah, Shadow, get wrecked. Was this your first kill? Asked Layla curiously. Yes, and as far as I'm concerned, the whole entire police force can rot. That is still in character, I guess. Responded Ellekonea evilly. I really hope she's going to be like Dako, where it just goes, said this thing evilly. She is evil. Did you guys know Layla is a psychopath and Ellekonea is evil? I think she's just like you, Layla. She is your sister. She shall live in the finest part of the underworld like we do, said Mortimer. Yes, of course. I think we should have some sibling bonding time and you should get to know Shadow. Let's attack town again, said Layla. Okay. This brought a smile to everyone's face as they headed back to the best place in the underworld. Chapter 4, The Lord of Death. Later, could we delay the attack? The Lord of Fear wants me to do something. Says it's very important, requested Shadow. I know what this is. Sure thing, replied Layla, and Shadow left to go talk to the Lord of Fear. The Lord of Fear many years ago was imprisoned, unable to leave the underworld by a witch, because he broke a promise to her. He was imprisoned to a small room. Others could enter and leave, but he couldn't. Very different from the original Lord, from the current Lord of Fear. The current Lord of Fear only exists in backstory because he's dead in the current story. But yeah. Master, I am here. What is it you want me to do? Said Shadow as she bowed down. I want you to go rescue someone, said the Lord of Fear. But I'm not a hero, she replied, confused. She is being held in a maximum security medical ward guarded by the one of Earth, Graham, responded the Lord of Fear. So you want me to fight the third-ranked most powerful superhero? Sounds like a challenge. I like challenges. I am like an assassin, so silence is my key. I shall use silence to my advantage, responded Shadow. But first, take this. The Lord of Fear picked up a sword. The Sword of Shadows, said Shadow. In amazement. It was a vibrant dark purple sword that had a case that would go over one's back. It had glistening razor-sharp edges. Yes, I feel you should have it. As soon I shall be nothing more than a spirit taken away by Jappo to a villain's heaven. And when that comes, you will not just be the girl of nightmares, you shall also be the girl of fear, replied the Lord of Fear weakly. Yes, Master, Shadow responded as she swiftly attached the sword case to her back, and slipped the sword into it. She then went to her room to gather Witch and Hunter, a few other weapons, and some water and some food for travels. Then off she set. She exited the underworld and looked around, suddenly realizing this was her first solo mission. She felt important and happy. Aww. But only for a few seconds. An assassin must always be focused. Current Shadow isn't really an assassin. That's more Dart's job. But Current Shadow is like a bodyguard. She walked for most of the way, not wanting to use up too much energy. After about 2 hours of walking, they arrived. It looked like a spooky abandoned place. It was eerily quiet. If Shadow had not been a girl of nightmares, it would have freaked her out. She as quietly as an insect entered the building. Surprisingly, Hunter and Witch were quiet, just like she had trained them to be. They crept along the corridor. Shadow held her necklace tightly. It had been a gift from her older brother, oh I remember this, for her 4th birthday, before he died of lung cancer at the age of 14. Just very casually. You can tell I made up backstories on the fly, just like, I still kind of do, but like, not to this extent. She knew if he had still been alive, she would still be a good person and would have escaped the underworld and would have came to find him. The necklace had a vibrant violet amethyst slotted around it, connected by a thin chain of silver. It had always been her most prized possession. Soon enough, she got to a room that had someone in it. She immediately knew the person was the girl she was meant to save. Shadow, using a hair clip, picklocked, and the door swung open with a little creak. She held her hand out to the young girl. She looked about 8. Okay, so Ellekonea was older than Rachel originally. Okay. I've just spoiled that this is Rachel. You know, that's fine. Also, just a little note, current Rachel is non-binary and uses they/them, but in this story, Rachel's referred to as a girl, and I'm just reading it, so yeah. Hair as dark as night covered one eye. The rest of it was behind her head. She wore a black tunic with dark black leggings. The girl looked up slowly before taking her hand, but she didn't say a word. Shadow quickly led her to the entrance of the building. But there was someone there waiting. Shadow saw him and backed round the corner, allowing the shadows to hide her. She went the other way, looking for another exit. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out of this place. She couldn't find one. She would have to fight her way out But then there were footsteps, hundreds and hundreds of footsteps it sounded like. She saw people in all black outfits running down corridors. They hadn't quite came down the ones she was at yet. Then the footsteps got closer and closer. They had flashlights. Soon they were down the same corridor as Shadow, and the darkness was absorbed by the light. She had lost her cover and could clearly see who these people were. They were a SWAT team. Shadow thought it over in her head. The way she saw it was she had two options. Option 1, give herself up, fail the mission. Or option 2, fight them all and either die trying to succeed or beat them all. Option 2 sounded more appealing, as she wasn't one to give up. Go on, Shadow, girl boss your way out of this. Shadow searched their mind for their worst nightmares, but their minds were blocked. You can't see what their worst nightmare is, can you? Said the person as he walked in front of them. It was Graham. He had grey hair and grey eyes. Good to know. New technology, headgear to stop you seeing into their minds. You will not be able to beat us without... Shadow struck him in the head with the sword of shadows, causing him to squirt blood to squirt out of his head. It made him quite dazed. That will teach you to blabber on, said Shadow. She then, using her sword, quickly swept through the rest of the SWAT team like it was nothing. Without giving Graham time to get up, she stabbed him through the heart with the sword of shadows, instantly killing him. Most other murderers would have taken a trophy from him, but Shadow was not like that. She grabbed the little girl's hand and left. Her pets followed swiftly behind them. They walked for a bit before taking rest in a tree. What's your name? Asked Shadow. My name's Rachel, responded Rachel. All of a sudden a raven flew to her shoulder. And I am the girl of ravens. Wow, so is that your soul pet? Asked Shadow. Yes, her name is Ravenna, responded Rachel. Okay, now get some sleep. We have a long walk, ordered Shadow. Rachel slept while Shadow kept watch all night. They then, using the cover of trees, headed back to the underworld. Shadow immediately brought Rachel to the Lord of Fear. I remember what happens here. Shadow, I see you were successful, to the Lord of Fear hoarsely. Yes, I did, Master, responded Shadow. Hi, so you're the Lord of Fear? Cool Ellekonea. Okay, Rachel, said Rachel with Ravenna on her shoulder. It is my time. Shadow, it is time that I depart this world and leave you with the full power of fear. You will be the girl with nightmares and fear. And one last thing, Rachel is your sister. Now I depart, said the Lord of Fear before just dropping to the floor. I remember that scene because it's always been so funny to me. He's just like, hey, this is your sister. Anyway, dies. I lost my place. Shadow stood there, her mouth gaping open. She then checked the Lord of Fear for a pulse. There was none. He was well and truly dead. She took Rachel by the hand and dragged her along with her as she went to go find Mortimer, Layla and Ellekonea. She soon found them and reported the news to them about the Lord of Fear's death. They all sat down on some nice sofas. So what was your last mission? Asked Layla as she sat on the sofa opposite Shadow and Ellekonea and Mortimer. Shadow quickly described everything that had happened. Wait, you killed the third-ranked element of light? Or is this what makes Shadow more famous than Layla? Said Layla, slightly in shock. And, like, I know, normally it's underwhelming, the, heroes being, third ranks and then being defeated easily or not holding your own against kids, but this one isn't actually, a bad thing, because, Shadow is, Shadow is meant to be, really, really strong. And I mean really, she's... Even current Shadow is really, really strong. Shadow is meant to be the strongest mortal, I guess. Shadow's just built differently. Wait, you killed the third-ranked element of light? Said Layla, slightly in shock. Yeah, responded Shadow. That makes you more wanted than me. Last time this happened, there was a manhunt for the killer and they wanted their head to be put on a stick. This makes you the most wanted person in the country. Most wanted person in the country. Okay, so it's not that Shadow is more famous than Layla, it's that Shadow's more wanted than Layla. Okay. When was when was all the beheading? 16th century? With the divorced beheaded died, divorced beheaded survived stuff in the Bloody Mary? Responded Shadow sarcastically, which made Rachel giggle. Yeah, it was, idiot. Responded later, pretending to be mad. The Lord of Fear also said that Rachel here is my sister. Rachel, what happened to our parents? Asked Shadow. Well, in this story, well, I was born shortly after you were kidnapped, and Big Bro had died of cancer just before you were kidnapped. They couldn't handle it and left me in a box. Okay. At the side of the road, someone found me. The police found Mum and Dad sent to prison for 20 years. I was given a foster family for a bit, but they were horrible and would beat me. Also, her backstory is very similar to the current one. Well, to an extent. They were horrible and would beat me. I found out about my power and I used my ravens to pluck their eyes out. And then I swiftly slit each of their throats. They're like killing their parents is the same as what they're like in the current story. But like the whole entire Rachel's like entire motivations are kind of different, I guess. Cause like, yeah. Now an 8-year-old can't be sent to prison, so I sent to a mental asylum. Then you came and got me out of there. Thanks. Probably Rachel looking quite sad. You have been through quite a lot, said Shadow as she put her arm around Rachel. Rachel had never been hugged before in her whole entire life. That's just sad. She was at first unsure, then wrapped her arms around Shadow. She liked the feeling of being cuddled. So who shall be your master now, your master's Shadow? Asked Mortimer. I shall be my own master, Shadow responded. You ready to attack the town? We could even show little Rachel the ropes, said Layla. Sure, Muppet, responded Shadow. Shut up, you ignorant swine, responded Layla. Ellekonea went over to Rachel, both of them embarrassed by their big sister's childish behaviours, and they talked about a few things and were nice to each other, the complete opposite of their sisters. It's funny because in the current story, Ellekonea and Rachel do not get along that well. Like, they're on the same side, but they don't get along that well compared to their sisters. Chapter 5, The Children of Satan. We know who this is gonna be, don't we, people that have read my current story? AKA my friends. Also, these two characters have different names than they currently have, but I'll obviously explain it and stuff. Kill, kill, live another day, sang a little girl spookily, who stood at the end of a never-ending hallway as Layla approached. Kill them all, murder them, suffocation, sang the little girl. The more Layla walked, the further away the end of the corridor got. It seemed like it would never end. Traitors, vermin, execute them all, display their heads, she sang on. The queen of the underworld, all shall bow, and those who shan't shall die. A flower will put out the fire before it is frozen and shattered, she sang. Now that prophecy thing is still that is also said in the current story by the same character. That bit. It was said in chapter 12 though, so I don't blame anyone if they don't remember. Or any of my friends. Who are you? Asked Layla, very confused. The queen asked the question. Bow, reply, your highness, she said as she bowed down to Layla. Who are you? Repeated Layla. The girl creepily floated forward. I am the one who enjoys to see death and torment. My brother shall be the one who tames a wildfire and makes the people of the overworld bow. I don't like that. Tames a wildfire. Because I think I know what I'm talking about. But I don't remember ever planning for them to actually be together, just that one of them's a bit cringe. Layla could make out what she looked like. The little girl had scruffy long hair. She wore a small little tiara with several red gems on it. She wore a simple red tunic and red leggings. Had several holes in them, but her eyes, the pupils were gleaming red. And the rest of each eye was engulfed in darkness. She could tell it was the daughter of Satan. Just casually. You are Satan's daughter. What is it you want to say? Asked Layla. Father sent me. You are to take on his son as apprentice, replied Satan's daughter, still practically singing. What is your name? What is your name, little one, and your brother's? Asked Layla curiously. I'm Shay. I thought her original name was Shayla. Oh my god. Okay then. But that is original Jade, and my brother is Devon. That is original Lapis. They have cooler names now. Replied Shay, still singing solemnly. When shall he arrive? Asked Layla. When your eyes open. When your eyes open, Shay sang back. Are you coming too? Asked Layla. Yes, but only for a bit, sang back Shay. Layla jolted awake. What a strange dream she had just had. She didn't even know what half of it meant. She thought she was just going insane, but she decided to check and see if Devon and Shay were there. She hurriedly changed into her normal clothing and woke up Tal, Appa and Charlie. Charlie had grown quite a bit now. It hasn't even been that long, but was still a little pup. Tal sat on Layla's shoulder and Appa and Charlie followed along behind. Charlie was full of energy and as excited as ever. She walked past Shadow's door. She was already awake early with Rachel. I had a dream last night that Shay and Devon are here, Layla said to Shadow excitedly. You sure, Nimwit? Because in the last dream you told me the giant tomato was coming to destroy us all. And much to my disappointment that didn't happen now, did it, little Miss Ugly? Okay, Shadow, retorted Shadow. No. Well, shut up, you half-wit, replied Layla, laughing a bit. Numbskull, responded Shadow as they walked to Ellekonea's room. Ayla woke her up and the four of them and their pets went to the entrance of Hell. Casual. Of Hell Palace. Where they saw Shay and a tall, rather handsome boy. He had blood red hair that was slicked back with what looked like a mixture of hair gel and blood. He had blood red pupils and wore a red tank top and some red shorts. He also had more freckles than one person could count. Shay and Devon, welcome, said Layla, trying to sound welcoming. Shay did a curtsy and Devon kneeled down. You are much prettier than I was told, said Devon, awestruck. Yeah, original Lapis is a lot more cringe, I'd say. Current Lapis has like one go-to line, it is my fiery queen of hotness. But like, yeah, original Devon has a lot more lines than that. I think he needs some glasses, said Shadow, laughing. My lady, she mocks you. Let me deal with her. Yep, they still fight. They've always been fighting their entire existence. Devon and Shadow, or Lapis and Shadow, have been fighting. They can never get along, said Devon, staring coldly at Shadow. I would like to see you try, pretty boy. Oh, I forgot. Shadow calls Devon / Lapis pretty boy in a mocking tone. Like, that's her nickname for him. The original. I kind of like that. I haven't really got the opportunity to use that yet, but I don't think current Shadow would call him pretty boy. Or she might. I don't know. It's kind of a cool nickname, but also it's just kind of, I don't know, said Shadow as she stared him in the eye. Both of you stop, this is getting us nowhere, shouted Rachel. This took them all aback a bit, because Rachel didn't seem like she would be one to shout at people. Fine, introduce me to your friends then, asked Devon. I'm Shadow, the girl of nightmares. It's so nice to meet you, said Shadow sarcastically. I'm Rachel, the girl of ravens, her sister. Nice to meet you, replied Rachel. I am Ellekonea, the girl of hellhounds, replied Ellekonea. And I am Mortimer. Layla, you could have at least woken me up, shouting with mostly ran to greet them. And these are our pets, replied Layla. I must go now, but I will see you all, sang Shay as she slunk through the floor. Casual. And they all just stood there in silence for a bit. Okay then, Shadow keeping it real, said Shadow. I am your apprentice now. Teach me all you can, please, asked Devon. I will. We are to attack a town soon, but first me and Shadow both have sisters we need to teach a few things about fighting, replied Layla. Mortimer, show him to his room. It's this way, Mortimer said as he began to lead Devon away. He is so into you. I can't see why. That's funny, Shadow. Meanwhile, current Shadow be like blushing when Layla is close to her. You gay ass MF. Said Shadow jokingly as she passed by with Rachel as she was taking her somewhere to train. You know, I said I was going to read like 7 chapters, but this has taken way longer than I thought, so I guess the elements will be divided into 3 parts. I'm going to stop it here because I'm about to have dinner, but yeah. So I'm going to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. So, I just realised the screen's... you know what, it's fine because I'm reading it out, but like, next time the screen will be correctly, on here, you know? And yeah, I'll see you all next time. This is like the first video I've recorded on this, so of course it's going to be a little bit random and a little bit couple of issues, but that's why we do these recordings on stuff that we can, like, it doesn't matter too much how well it works, because then we can test it out and stuff. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. So goodbye, friends, fruits and vegetables. And now the webcam's lagging, but that's fine.